Welcome to the Pets Rule Show. I'm your host, Mr. Animal Lover. And today we have a new star, Lucky. Lucky is a rescue Yorkie, 10 months old. And the family that adopted him could no longer take care of Lucky because they didn't know they were allergic to dogs. So Lucky's next destination was going to be a rescue animal shelter. So instead of having him go to a rescue animal shelter, I decided to adopt Lucky, and he's going to be my college daughter's emotional support animal. So I am going to uh, gift Lucky to my 20-year-old daughter, and I'm going to register him as an emotional support animal. Um, Lucky's gonna get spayed and neutered. That has to be done. But Lucky, say hi to the camera. Lucky, say hi to the camera. Okay, this week's topic, right? Grieving pet loss, right? When you lose a pet, you have to grieve, and that's this week's topic. Today, the hidden impact of pet loss on kids. What pet parents need to know. So, the hidden impact of pet loss on kids, what pet parents need to know. Lucky, I'm gonna put you down. You want to go down? I'm gonna put you down, and then we'll come back up. Come on, let's go. Wait. I'm gonna put you down. There you go. Okay. Okay, so that was Lucky. Uh Thank you for joining me on the Pets Rule Show, 7:30 to 8 p.m., Monday through Friday. I'm your host, Mr. Animal Lover, and today's topic, the hidden impact of pet loss on kids, what parents need to know. Well, let's start with a few articles I found on this. Very important, right? Very important. I'm gonna allow Lucky to get out because he's gonna bark. Lucky, don't bark. Go. There you go. All right. You'll be seeing Lucky on the show every now and then. Um, so let's get it together, Mr. Animal Lover. Okay, where are we? All right. So this is the Harvard Gazette. General study finds that the loss of a pet can potentially trigger mental health issues in children. We don't want to reach or get to that point. We want to make sure that we do, as parents, as adults, we do everything in our power to make sure that we don't allow children to get to the point where they're feeling anxiety, depression, and everything that can happen with pet loss, right? The death of a family pet can trigger a sense of grief in children that is profound and prolonged and could potentially lead to subsequent mental health issues, according to a new study by researchers at Massachusetts General Hospital. One of the first major losses a child will encounter is likely to be the death of a pet, and the impact can be traumatic, especially when that pet feels like a member of the family, said Catherine Crawford, previously with the Center for Genomic Medicine and lead author of the study. We found this experience of pet death is often associated with elevated mental health symptoms in children, and that parents and physicians need to recognize and take those symptoms seriously, not simply brush them off. Roughly half of households in developed countries own at least one pet. And as the investigators reported, the bonds that children form with pets can resemble secure human relationships in terms of providing affection, protection, and reassurance. Previous studies have shown that children often turn to pets for comfort and to voice their fears and emotional experience. Well, I can speak from experience. Growing up, my first pet was a cat, and that was my emotional connection, my companion. I loved my cat as if it was a human love, human relationship, a brother, sister, if it's a boy or girl. While the increased empathy, self esteem, and social competence that often flow from this interaction is clearly beneficial, the downside is the exposure of children to the death of a pet, which the study found occurs with 63% of children with pets during their first 7 years of life. Having someone to talk to in a sympathetic or therapeutic way may be extremely helpful for a child who is grieving. Researchers also learned that the relationship between pet death and increased psychopathology was more pronounced in male than female children, a finding that surprised them in light of prior research, and that the strength of the association was independent of when the pet's death occurred during childhood and how many times or how recently it occurred. According to Dunn, this latter find speaks to the durability of the bond with pets that is formed at a very early age and how it can affect children across their development. It's crucial that we understand the emotional trauma, especially a young child, ages 10 to 20, the death of a pet can have, especially if the child was raised with the pet and it's a family pet that's been with the family for a long time. I consider a long time anything more than 1 year. That's just me. Um, Studies stress the importance of parents, caregivers, and pediatricians recognizing and taking seriously the short and long term psychological reactions of children to the death of a pet, reactions which can mimic a child's response to the loss of other importantly family members. Adults need to pay attention to whether those feelings are deeper and more profound, and if they're lasting longer than might have been expected. There could be signs of complicated grief, and having someone to talk to in a sympathetic or therapeutic way may be extremely helpful for a child who is grieving. Excellent article. And again, I always share the link so that you can go back and reach out to it. Let's get one more. So, UCLA Health, 6 tips for handling pet loss with children. More than 65% of Americans include a pet, and it's easy to see why. Interaction with animals can boost your mood, release stress, and provide companionship. Most people think of pets as family members, but the death of a pet can be devastating, especially for children. The grief for a pet can be more intense and last longer than adults' grief. The death of a family pet is often the first significant loss a child experiences. Approximately 63% of children with pets lose them before age 7, but knowing how to handle pet loss with your child can help them with the grieving process. Use these tips with your child in the days and weeks following the death of a beloved pet. Choose the right time and place. Delivering the news of a pet's death to your child while managing your own grief can be difficult to make it easier. Plan to do it. One on one, you want your child to be free to react however they need, but that may not be the case if there's an audience. Somewhere your child is comfortable, familiar surroundings can serve as comfort when your child feels uncomfortable. When your schedule is clear, there's no telling how many questions your child may have or how much comforting they will need. Try to limit distractions and choose a time you don't have to be anywhere else anytime soon. Number 2, tailor your conversation to your child's age and maturity. Knowing what to expect when your child encounters their first loss can be challenging, but accounting for your child's age and understanding what they know about death should help. Ages 3 to 5, children think death may be temporary and reversible. Ages 6 to 8, children gain a more realistic idea of death and its meaning. Ages 9 and older, children realize death is final and permanent. Tell the truth about your pet's death. Telling your child that their pet ran away or went to live at a farm won't spare them feelings of grief and loss. It may compromise your child's trust when they eventually learn the truth. Don't hide your grief from your child. Losing a pet is often just as hard for the parent as it is for a child. After all, you were likely the primary caregiver when your pet joined the family to when you said goodbye. Help your child find closure. Children aren't always with their pet at the end, so it can be difficult for them to feel a sense of closure. And getting closure after a loss is an essential step in healing. Know when to get help for your child's mental distress. Mental distress after the loss of a pet is normal for a child and may include artwork and playtime, focus on your pet or death, behavior issues, changes in eating habits, sudden bathroom accidents, trouble sleeping. But you may need medical help managing a child's distress if the symptoms begin to interfere with daily activities and routines, do not lessen in intensity or duration, last more than 2 to 4 weeks. All right. If your child isn't coping well after the loss of a pet, reach out to your child's pediatrician. What an excellent, extremely well-written article. 6 tips for handling pet loss with your child. Okay, it's that time. What time is it? It's time for Mr. Animals Lover's 1 minute beef. Right? Mr. Animal, remember today is the hidden impact of pet loss on kids, what parents need to know. Every day we started the new Mr. Animal Lover's 1 minute beef, and it's just 1 minute where I get to just rant away on everything that bothers me about this world. Okay, ready? Here we go. Let me take a minute. Drum roll. And go. So, listen to me. The death of a pet, whether it's a cat, a bird, a turtle, a hamster, a guinea pig, it's traumatic. Can cause mental health issues, and it can backfire if you just let it go and don't talk to your child. Make every effort. The research shows it. I just read 2 articles to provide comfort to your child. Make sure that you making it very clear, and you're gonna have to spare some time. Take away time from work, from your busy life, and devote that time to your child. Telling them the truth in the beginning builds trust long term, just like the article said. However, if your child is still having a hard time when you're taking all this time out to give them comfort, please make sure that you get professional help and you start with the pediatrician. And that is my Mr. Animal Lover's 1 minute beef. Wow, that's a lot. That was a lot. Okay, I got another article here. This is Synergy, UC Davis Veterinary Medicines Magazine. Helping kids cope with pet loss. Explaining death at different ages. Ages 7 and under, communicate with calm honesty. Use the words death and dying rather than went to sleep or went to heaven. Euphemisms can be confusing and lead to mistrust and misunderstandings. Help your child understand that dying means the pet's body has stopped working and they will not come back. Prepare them so they can enjoy any time left with their pet. If you received news of a terminal illness from your veterinarian, speak with your child as soon as possible in a quiet place so they can process their emotions, ask questions, and have time to say goodbye. Do not lie. Don't blame the veterinarian or say the pet ran away. This could scare a child away from seeking help for a sick person or pet in the future. And thinking a pet ran away may make them wonder why the pet didn't love them enough to stay. Find an appropriate age children's book to help you explain death. 8 years and over. Explain the role of uh, a pet being euthanized. If that is applicable, if children are mature enough, ask if they want to be present. Closure is very important for children. Before a pet is euthanized, explain that the pet wasn't going to get better and that the family chose a kind way to help the pet die without pain. Remind teens it's okay to cry. Teenagers sometimes struggle the most and need to have their feelings validated. Let them know that grief is an appropriate response and everyone expresses it differently. Remind kids you're sad too. It's okay to let your child see your feelings so they know that they aren't alone in their grief. Engage in a goodbye rituals, scatter the pet's ashes, hold a memorial service, make scrapbook or create a photo collage. Give your child ways to contribute, like finding a burial place or choosing a favorite toy to bury with your pet. Be patient. Parents often want to ease their child's pain by rushing out and buying another pet. The last thing you want to do is convey the impression that the pet, a family member, is replaceable. Wait until the child expresses an interest in another pet. Children are very resilient and they usually learn to accept that pet is gone. If a child persists with nightmares or seems unable to cope, however, it may be necessary to talk with a counselor. What a beautiful article, huh? My daughter Britt was 5 when her first pet died, a Kakin named Zazu. We've given him a home after finding him scrawny and hungry at the park next to the Sacramento Zoo. He quickly became part of her daily routine, riding her finger or shoulder to the playground near our apartment after school, playing in sink water, and screeching for millet, his favorite treat. We had him for less than a year when I noticed a sudden change in his behavior. He wasn't vocalizing. He wasn't eating or even interested in the millet. I raised and rehabilitated dozens of wild birds in my teen years, so I knew the warning signs of a sick bird. As a single mom in college, I didn't have the money to take Zazu to emergency care, as I feared Zazu's little body lay stiff in the bottom of his cage the next morning. Will he wake up, Mom? Britt touched his cool feet. No, sweetie, his body was done living, but he will always be close to your heart when you think of him. I let Britt help me wrap him in tissue paper before we placed his body in a small shoebox. She had obsessively watched The Lion King and wanted to bury him in a nearby field so his body could become part of the earth again and complete the circle of life. Britt carried the shoebox with both hands in front of her along the path to the field where I dug out a small patch of dirt with a garden trowel. She remained silent as I worked, holding the cardboard close to her chest. When I finished, she squatted to place the box in the ground. We stood for a few moments in silence, holding hands before I covered the box with dirt and she laid a millet spray on top. Grief and mourning. Approximately 70% of U.S. households own a pet, according to the American Pet Prod Association National Pet Owner Survey. The way we raise those pets has changed significantly in the past 20 years. They live inside our homes and even share our beds. We view our pets as members of the family, so when the inevitable time comes to say goodbye, we experience similar grief to losing a loved one. Helping our children navigate that grief and subsequent mourning may not be easy, but there are a few things to keep in mind. Florence Soares Dabalos, a licensed mental health professional and on-site veterinary hospital staff member at UC Davis, encourages parents to give children the opportunity to express their grief through play, which allows them to work through their feelings. Children typically know how to grieve. They don't let thoughts cloud the process like adults do. She says journaling and artwork help them deal with emotions. We can help them by supporting that process and letting them talk about their pet when they need to. When talking about the pet's death, it's important to be honest and use proper terminology. Soares Dabalo says each parent needs to understand their child's development age to decide how much information to communicate. Children are concrete thinkers and interpret what we say literally, says Soares Dabalo. It's okay to use age-appropriate medical terms. We'll avoid put to sleep since we all sleep. Most importantly, it is critical to acknowledge your child's emotion. Grief is an individual process, and your child may go through various stages at different times. Anger, irritability, denial, guilt, acceptance. Whatever they express, it's important to let them know these feelings are valid. Depending on the age, your child may regress, sucking their thumb, or temper tantrums that they had outgrown. An older child may withdraw from friends and family for a while. Schoolwork may suffer, and they may seem uninterested in extracurricular activities. So, life lessons. Losing a companion animal is never easy, but it can be a powerful learning experience to help a child process other loss in their lives. Britt was 7 when my brother died suddenly in a motorcycle accident. While I was left reeling with grief, she processed the loss in much the same way she had when she lost Zazu. She wrote her uncle a note in green crayon telling him he would always be in her heart and taped it to my mom's living room wall. And excellent article, and I love the painting. I mean, lesson learned in today's articles that we read, you just have to have a lot of patience, and depending on the age of the child, you have to communicate clearly. The pets died, the whatever dog, animal, whatever German died, and it's not coming back. However, it's okay to grieve as a child. There's nothing wrong with that, and that's what I get out of these articles. Thank you for joining me in the Pets Rule Show. Today, the hidden impact of pet loss on kids, what parents need to know. Parents need to know that just like adults, kids grieve also, and they grieve differently, and every child is unique, and that grieving process can take in many forms, uh, depending their age. They can skip after school extracurriculum. Their grades may suffer. They might not want to be with friends. The younger they are, they might want to express it by coloring, crayons, or hiding out in their room. And that's when, as a parent and adult, you have to take time out and spend time with your child. It's mandatory. Otherwise, small emotions can unravel and become mental distress and then require professional help. That's what we want to avoid as parents. I love today's topic, the hidden impact of pet loss on kids, what parents need to know. The Pets Rule Show, Monday through Friday, 7:30 to 8 p.m. I'm your host, Mr. Animal Lover. Smash that subscribe button. Like if you enjoy the show. HLCpets.com for Pet Seal. Everything about pets, blogs, pet businesses. I'm going to go on there a few minutes at the end of the show. For if I showed you today, we adopted Lucky. What a name, Lucky, right? Lucky is Lucky, born 5/1/2024, male, color black tan, and he's a Yorkie. He's a Yorkie, and he has all his shots, which was good. And I see there was a veterinary visit or his shots. It makes me sad. A beautiful dog, like, it makes me sad. All those dogs all those pets that are in animal rescue centers, all of them make me sad. But 10 months old, and these are hard times, and it is sad, when there's no adoption in place where they end up. But Lucky's gonna go with my daughter, and I'm gonna show you at the end of the show the process I'm gonna take. I'm gonna make him a registered emotional support animal, and I'll show you that process. Pets Rule at hlcpets.com. Pets Rule at hlcpets.com. Send your emails, questions. You call me 9 p.m. to 11 p.m. Monday through Friday, 1-800-213-0988, $1.99 per minute fee. Any questions? I'm Mr. Fixer. If you have issues with your pet, your cats, you have questions, I'm here to answer them. Snap, share, win. Enter your best pictures and videos for a chance to win cash prizes. Email your pictures and videos to petsrule at hlcpets.com. That is petsrule at hlcpets.com. So, we are going to do two things right now. Let me show you this first, right? So, this is foundcall.org. Lost to found made simple. So Lucky has been microchipped. However, I am going to register Lucky on my account. And what is Found Call? Found Call is a directory of friends' numbers that you provide so that in case you're working, your phone is off, you are able to be reached if your pet is found, right? You give us a list of contacts to call when your pet is found. We give you a special phone number and a unique ID code. You put that information on your pet's collar. And the great thing I like about this non-for-profit is that you can donate. It's only $1 for the service, but you can donate more. And for when you donate more, where does this money go to? Even that dollar, not just to the services provided to you, but to it's free for veterans, it's free for emotional support animals, and for service animals. So for service animals, emotional support animals, and veterans, it's free. So you're getting 3 in 1. You open an account, register for $1 for each pet, and you're providing a service to veterans, emotional support animals, and service dogs. Never miss a call. Update anytime, anywhere. And if you scroll down, these are everything you'll get. Having more than one way to identify your pet when they are found provides you with greater peace and mind. And then you will click the Get Started Now, and you're ready to go. So, hlcpets.com, everything about pets. You'll see it here. I am going to go to Pets Deals. And on Pets Deals, I am going to scroll down. And this is what I'm going to do. U.S. Service Animals, Official Service Support Animal Registration. This is where I am going to go to register Lucky. All right, U.S. Service Animals, Official Service Support Animal Registration. And the process is easy. Easy registration process. Enter your animal's information to register. Your animal will be registered in the U.S. National Registry. Your animal will be registered as an emotional support animal or service animal and placed in the U.S. National Service Animal Registry. Receive your certificate ID in the mail fast. You'll receive your emotional support animal service animal registration certificate and photo ID by mail and in digital format, optional to download for immediate use. So this is what I am going to do and talk to our medical doctors today, speak to a doctor, all one-stop shop. All right? And where do you go? You go to hlcpets.com and you click on Pets Deal. And you have a little bit about, you got every service, pet service you can think about. It's all here on the Pets Deals. All right. Thank you for watching HLC. Thank you for watching the Pets Rule Show. I am your host, Mr. Animal Lover. This week, grieving your pet. That's the topic for this week. And tomorrow, we're going to talk about the importance of the elderly, right? Tomorrow, we're going to talk about the elderly, how important it is for them to have a pet and the loss of a pet on an elderly person, right? Because elderly persons don't have usually anybody else. Families tend to move away. And if they have a pet, if they don't, you seen the earlier show, the best friend companion for them is having a pet, especially a dog where it can keep them agile, walking around. They have to walk it out. But we're going to talk about the effects on the elderly, the grieving process, and how we can make life a little bit better when their pets die and they have to grieve. What can we do to lessen that grieving, right? It's not much we could do because as adults, we all going to grieve, but we can make life just a little bit easier on the elderly when they grieve a pet. Thank you for watching the Pets Rule Show, Monday through Friday, 7:30 to 8 p.m. I'm Mr. Animal Lover, your host, and have a good night. Stay tuned for tomorrow's show.